to talk a bit about my influences in games, of course, Lovecraft is my favorite writer, and it's the writer that has influenced what I do the most. I think he's a master of atmosphere. What he achieved in his stories, it's just fantastic. You could almost feel these environments around you, be it a very creepy forest with immemorial secrets, or the Antarctic, or in the case of the Charles War, for example, Providence and Salem, where this student called Charles, he becomes obsessed with the occult arts because an ancestor of him is rumored to be a warlock, you know. And what Charles does in the story, he becomes so obsessed that he decides to bring back this Joseph Goodwin warlock from the dead. It's a fascinating story because it's on one hand, it's a sort of biography of Lovecraft's life in Providence. Many agree that Charles Dexter Ward is, for the most part, an alter ego of Lovecraft. But then, you know, just as Lovecraft loved Providence, he loved his hometown, and he paints it as a very idyllic place. But little by little, the horror starts to creep in the story, and suddenly Charles goes to Salem and starts exploring creepy cemeteries, trying to locate Corwin's essential salt, which is what is needed to bring him back from the dead. And the game is, yes, like you say, quite traditional, even more traditional than the other game that we are making, Asylum, which is a first-person adventure game. Just naturally, I would say, because my goal was to quite faithfully adapt Lovecraft's novel. Just very naturally, the game became a sort of LucasArts adventure. And I know it's quite contradictory to say. I mean, you don't associate LucasArts with horror in general. But the game feels good. I mean, it's just the first part involves this whole research and exploration that Charles does in Providence and Salem. Sorry, I always pronounce Salem the wrong way. And then suddenly, you know, when he unearths these horrors lurking underground, the game takes a huge turn, and it becomes quite horrific. But as you said as well, we are focusing on a very intellectual type of horror, where, you know, it's more important what you can't see. I mean, it's a horror that works inside your head, not just you know, defending yourself from creatures or running. It's supposed to be supernatural horror.
And in fact, it's not even. It's a game that says that there's no weapons and no death. So, can you explain like a little bit of how that works in building a horror? Because I have seen that. You know, you have. There's even some games and in film where that is what gives such the suspense and the horror that you don't have that. But how do you translate that to a game, especially where maybe people are so used to having that weapon or having the death as that fear factor, that risk?
I know. The best way to explain it for me is referring to my first game, Scratches, which was similarly very inspired by Lovecraft. You take the role of a writer that travels to this Victorian mansion to finish his book, and literally, you can read the reviews, literally nothing ever happens in the game. Some people didn't like it, of course, because it's an atypical type of horror. But I would say that the majority, that there are many fans of Scratches, they love the game precisely because of that, because you couldn't exactly, locate the source of the fear, but you were always, just wondering what would happen next, what was around that corner. Again, the horror happened inside your head. You can die in Scratches, there are no weapons, you don't have to run, you just have to little by little uncover this mystery inside the Black Room Manor. And there is some very scary sequences, They could even qualify as jump scares, but again, they occur, you can count them with the fingers of one hand. They are very, very specific. And because the game is constant, build up, build up, build up, and then bam, we hit you with the scare scene. It's extremely effective. Some players, sure, they complain that there weren't any enemies in Scratches. It's not the point of the game, and it's not the point of the game in Charles Dexter Ward. It's about the story, about how you fit in that story, and the surprises that we have in store for you.
And I love like the visuals. I was looking at the images, the artwork. It gives you, all the looks, and you can just picture it with the music and the immersion, and then you have the occult, like you said, the supernatural. It all goes together. So you mix that together with the adventure, and you're searching through, and anyone who likes those type of point and click adventures, I mean, that's just something that you have to get into, and it's on Steam Greenlight. It's cool that you guys are offering a 100% DRM free version, and you guys have already had great games in the past. You as far as your team with that you have, is most of the people at work, are they fans of the point and click adventure, or do you have like a lot of people that are classic gaming fans that play games like you've mentioned before, like the Fallout, things like that?
Sorry, you mean if we have fans outside the adventure gaming community?
Yeah, like the fans of classic gaming that work with you.
I mean, yes. I mean, of course, it mostly appeals to fans of adventure games. But I have seen that in the case of Scratches, and also Serena, which we launched earlier this year. It's a short and free game. I noticed that just about any kind of player enjoyed it, just not specifically fans of point-and-click adventure games. I think this genre is becoming more and more universal these days, so that any player that wants to enjoy a more cerebral and slow-paced gameplay will enjoy just as much as any hardcore adventure gamer.
So as far as overall your goal is for what you want to accomplish with the game is, of course, making sure that you stay true to the to the book, and as far as getting the the feel of horror. Is there any other goals that you would say besides those two that you want to bring to the game?
I mean, of course, Yes, the primary goal is to bring as faithfully as possible Lovecraft novel into the interactive format. But we want to ensure, as you were saying, the quality of the graphics, a consistent quality of the graphics across all the game. Lovecraft was was careful to create this, this tangible atmosphere. We want to make sure that that sort of atmosphere is present in the game. And I mean, yes, we are requiring this budget because we want to, have a reasonably lengthy adventure game as well, from around 10 hours of gameplay, which is, quite generous. So I mean, yes, this is the exact game that we have in mind. We want to make it, we want to make it perfect. So it may seem like a high goal, but it's if we don't achieve this money, we wouldn't make this game because I wouldn't feel that it would make justice to the source material.